Okay, so it's taken around 120 hours of work to restore the Creed 7B, but it's finally complete. It's all back together again. It's fully working. I'll give a quick demonstration. This will probably be the last video on this machine unless you have any specific requests on how various bits work. So I've got it hooked up to my highly sophisticated interface electronics. I'll power up the Creed and just demonstrate how a few of the features actually work. So obviously it's a mechanical device, so the motor runs all the time, drives the transmitter, drives the receiver and drives the answer back encoder unit. So if you press a key, then it changes the key press into a series of pulses. It does that through the transmitter unit. And you can see these fingers moving in response to each key press that I make. You keep pressing keys and eventually the carriage limit light comes on. It may seem strange having this light on the machine considering there's a carriage at the back, but bear in mind if this is a field-based machine you may not have the carriage on here. It might just be the keyboard transmitter and the main unit, so you may not know how many characters you've typed, and it's important that you don't overrun the machine at the other end. So as soon as you see this light come on, you hit carriage return and then you know that you've sent a carriage return to the machine at the other end of the line, and that way he's not going to lose any data because you've typed a line that's too long. So this is the machine running. What I've done is I've hooked up some very simple electronics to turn the switching of the transmit contacts into actual signals. So I'll just reposition the camera so you can see the scope screen. Okay, so I've dimmed the lights in the lab so you can see the scope screen a bit better. I'll now press the P key on the keyboard and we'll do a single capture, and we'll capture the data that's coming out of the Creed transmitter. So as you can see, we've captured some data. You see the glitches are just switch bounce. I press the P key and working from the right, the line is normally high. So what we should be looking for, if I bring the character sets in, hopefully you can see this. We've got the start bit which is a high. We should then see another high, followed by a single bit length low, two more highs, and then going low again. So it starts off high, we get a single low. Bear in mind that the duration for a bit at this baud rate is 20 milliseconds, which is what I've got the scope set to. So we have two highs, one low, two more highs, two more ones, two zeros, and then it returns to the default high state. So we'll try another key. This time I'll try Q. So if we look at Q, we can see that again starts off high. We'll have one high bit, one low, three high and one low. So in other words, this should just be one bit longer. And indeed, that's exactly what we have. So we can now capture data reliably from the transmitter. Okay, the machine's turned itself off. So what I'll do now is reposition the camera so that you can see the paper, and I will change the configuration of my cobbled together electronics a little bit so that we have a loopback, and I'll be feeding the data coming out of the transmitter back into the receiver, and hopefully we should be able to print what we're typing. Okay, so another look at my amazing electronics, and this is just to feed back the output of the transmitter directly into the receiver, and we should be able to now reproduce on paper what we're typing on the keyboard. Okay, so I'll manually start the printer. Now if I type something on the keyboard, it should appear on the paper. don't know if you can see that, it's printing exactly what I'm typing. I'll just zoom you into the paper so you can see more clearly what I'm doing. Again, it can't do a paper feed properly because this is still the wrong sort of paper, but with the proper tractor feed paper it would feed the paper exactly as it should. So if I now type something, it should appear on the paper. Which it does. Now of course, if this was attached to a distant machine, then of course this information would also be appearing on that machine as well. But I'm just using it in a loopback mode here, so it's really behaving like an electric typewriter. One final feature I want to mention, just because I find it so interesting, is the answer back unit. The answer back unit is attached to the keyboard, and it effectively allows characters to be automatically typed in response to a request that's received from the remote machine. And the reason it's there is whenever you're using these, you're never really sure initially who it is you're sending data to. And bearing in mind the era when these machines were in heavy use and what they were being used for, it was quite important that you knew exactly who it was you were sending the information to. So what you could do is send a special character to the remote machine, and essentially it was a who are you request, and the remote machine could automatically respond with a code that was set into the machine. And the code could be unique. It was about 15 or 20 characters, so it did give quite a good scope for a unique code to be set, and it was normally set by the operator to identify his particular machine. And what you did is you requested that information from the remote machine before you sent data. So what I'll do, I'll just restart the machine, and then I will trigger that feature. As I say, I've got this in loopback mode, so I can just trigger the who are you function, and it will then type out the code that's in this drum. Okay, so I'll just turn the machine off again. Now, obviously it comes out as kind of garbage, hopefully you can see this. This is just the code that's unique to this machine, and it will type that out every time the who are you request is sent. And as long as that code matches what's expected, then you can be fairly certain you're talking to the right machine. It's not guaranteed of course, but it's a fairly good first step, and certainly better than nothing. Okay, so that's it for this series. If you have any requests for particular information, or you want to see how anything works in more detail, then let me know.